Look at her.
Is that Princess Superstar?
Fisher Spooner.
Oh, Fisher Spooner.
And
oh my
they are
God.
right now working with Michael Stipe. It's like your two old worlds are colliding.
Well, I think, I mean, not to gossip, but I think Michael Stipe and Casey were boyfriends.
Ah, interesting. I was wondering how that whole thing came about.
Yeah, and but he's always been a fan, and I mean, Casey back in the day would try to get Michael to put on Busby Berkeley kind of productions with that REM money.
Really?
Which, of course, was not going to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not going to happen. But
I do remember that at the original Electroclash Festival, that Fisher Spooner performance was really something. I think it snowed on stage, and it was a true, like, that was like such a big moment for you, for them. It was, tell me about that.
Yeah, no, you know what, that was that was a project that I took on, and I was really passionate about it because I just thought they're all so political. It was like, it didn't matter if you were gay or straight. There was politics, there was sexuality.
Yeah, because they were like a collective at that time.
And it was art and performance art and modern dance. And I remember they were actually the ones that kind of got me inspired to actually take it on, because I thought, wow, if this kind of a show were to get into the mainstream, imagine the next generation of acts that would do these kind of spectacles, and thus Goldfrapp, Lady Gaga.
Yeah.
I saw all of their tropes being trotted out in the next generation of electro-inspired acts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where just suddenly the show went up to another level where you could bring in art and you could bring in performance and dance. I literally have seen Lady Gaga and Goldfrapp recreate whole Fisher Spooner segments.
I mean, and now he's back doing Fisher Spooner again.
No, he's great. He's so talented and so sweet and handsome.
And
oh my God!
Really, I remember him being kind of nerdy, and then like I've seen his recent transformation, and I was like,
the body.
Yes, get it together. It's inspirational.
Yeah, no, he looks great.
He looks great. Well, shout out to you, Mr. Spooner. Look at him.
Oh, Richie Rich. Yeah, I love Richie Rich. Yeah, where's Richie now? You know, I think, in my estimation, I think that a little bit of the new Jeremy Scott thing that's so big.
Yeah.
It's a lot of, there's a lot of that club kid feeling in.
It is. That whole Moschino thing is very reminiscent of that era.
The unicorns and the Barbies and just the aesthetic, the models, the hunky boy models.
Yeah.
I mean, he could have been a Moschino model, this one here.
Definitely.
And you know, the vibe. I think Richie was a little ahead of its time in that he took that energy of the club kids and the fabulous and managed to put it into fashion.
Yeah.
I think it was a little early.
It was a little early, because I remember when Heatherette got bought by, what's his name, from Shark Tank, and like they were going to go mainstream, and it just didn't quite work. But I feel like now it would have worked.
Now it would have worked.
It was just
and
early.
now it's working.
Yeah,
for Jeremy Scott.
It is.
Though Jeremy was always Jeremy. He was never Richie Rich.
No, that's for sure.
I mean, he was always like a genius.
I mean, and all his stuff. They were both geniuses. I'll say that for sure.
Yeah, totally.
All right, look at him. Kenny.
Okay, Kenny. Yeah, you know, I've loved Kenny, and he was the door guy of my very first club in New York called Love Machine.
Oh, back in the day.
Back in the day. And I mean, we had Kenny at the door, and it was like kind of the first club where they actually let the Vogers in, because they would totally mop leather jackets.
Interesting.
They were terrible thieves. And but they were so fabulous that, of course, Kenny let them all in. It's like, hey girl, with that, you know, with that thick Irish brogue and that attitude. How do you do that? Oh.
Yeah, sweetie.
She was like, but yeah, I mean, you know, he knows his kids.
He does. He's
still a queen.
Still a queen, still on the scene, still making the hippest parties. And let me tell you, Kenny, if you don't know who it is, get into the looks, do your research, and understand if there was a person at the door to be reckoned with, it was Miss Kenny, and you did not want to fuck around.
No, I saw her take a punch. This guy just came up and went, boom, and literally she took about 15 seconds. She kind of clopped over on her heels to the side. She took about 15 seconds, kind of, And then she was right back out there and you know, just had him thrown on his head.
Wow.
But she's tough. She's the real deal.
Legendary, for sure. Look at her. Belvoir Cartier.
Well, yeah, you know, when I started doing Electroclash, you know, I thought Electroclash needed sort of a diva, because bitch tracks were the best part of house music. You know, those songs, "Bitch, I'll steal your boyfriend." Bitch, I'll steal your man. Don't try it.
Our Hey Qween band leaders is making a comeback of all bitch tracks lately.
You know, the bitch tracks were like one of my favorite parts of '90s house.
Yeah.
And I thought Electroclash, you know, it kind of had a sort of sophisticated air to it. It was very chic and dry and very white.
Yeah.
And so I made Miss Tobel, because she always kind of fancied her with the name Cartier.
Yeah.
She kind of fancied herself to be a step above most of the other girls, you know.
She did.
And so we had this song called Useless, where she said, you know, dress me in Yves Saint Laurent, my jewelry, and all the things you are to me, you are useless, darling. And then at the end she says, hello, I'm Catherine Deneuve.
Yes.
And yeah, she was always so fierce, and she had such a great, rich Southern voice that you know, recording her was always going to sound great. So I did Black Pussy Surprise, and the surprise is there ain't no pussy.
Those Tobel records you guys did together were so fun, and she has her own show now called Come On to My House, which is I think on public access in New York. So everyone should check that out for sure. Okay, just two more.
Okay.
Look at her.
Jaymes St. James.
Jaymes St. James, another from the back in the day.
You know, you can always tell Jaymes St. James just by her profile. I saw her yesterday, and because I had to go to the World of Wonder offices,
right?
Which was glamorous. Did you know?
Of course.
That Ronald Reagan used to sit in their office.
Really?
When he was head of the film board.
Interesting.
Yeah, and Jaymes was there, and he was such a good host. He took me on a tour of the downstairs, which used to be a legendary pump club, where like the Germs and Darby Clash.
Wow,
and
I didn't know that.
And he's just such a doll, and so talented too. I mean, you know, back in the day, the bitch could party. You know what I mean? And I'm surprised she's still alive, because she partied better than any of us, really. But now he's such a doll.
Yeah, and his movie is coming out, The Freak Show. I mean,
I know, another hit.
No, he's just doing it.
He's doing great.
Anything we don't know that you might remember from Jaymes St. James from back in the day, like a little story or tidbit?
Not that I could tell.
Oh.
With Jaymes, I can honestly say, you know, there's some people you can tell a story about.
Sure.
But Jaymes are all so rich.
All right, well, we'll move on to our final haul.
Okay.
Look at
Lady Bunny.
Lady Bunny. Now, you said in the main show that you were there the night Lady Bunny debuted in drag, and that it was a moment.
Yeah, I mean, it was like everybody there knew that something had happened, and that she sucked the oxygen right out of the room. You know, you know, you know, she's a Tennessee girl.
Yeah.
And she's always had a taste for black cock. I do know that.
Yes, that's true.
I don't know exactly what you can say about Lady Bunny that isn't already legendary.
That's true.
And but you know, I love that she's still she's so political.
Yeah.
She's crazy political, and you know, I think she's the last of the really. I think she can still party, unlike all the other kids from that era. They've all kind of, you know, softened and grown up a bit. But girl, that one's still going, I think.
Still got it going on.
Yeah, and she's still so funny.
She is, and so can still dance her ass off. Did she always dance like that back in the day?
Yes, she always danced, and she's always had great legs.
Oh.
Well, because you know, it's always like a caftan that comes to here.
Yes.
So it's a lot of feathers and stuff, and then these great legs, which she prides herself on, sort of these, you know, Dorothy Lamour legs. You know, kind of. But I love how she accentuates the positive.
Yes.
And then puts feathers on the rest.
Why not? As we all should.
As we should.
Larry, thank you so much for being here.
Oh,
so great to see you, Qween.
Great to see you.
Thank you for everything, and can't wait to see all the rest that's coming soon.
Yeah, it's super. Yeah, it's super fun. Thanks for having me.
Our pleasure. Lady Red, you were gorgeous as usual, sweetie. Shimmering like pheromone star. I try. All right, everybody. We'll see you next time on Hey Qween, and Look at her. Bye, baby. Look at her. Lady Red, see ya. Look at her. Come on, Larry D, get me some chairs dancing. Look at her. Look at her. Bye, baby. See you later, camera. Bye, camera. Hey, Queens! Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our Hey Queen podcasts up here. Check out more of our incredible interviews down here. And, of course, don't forget to what? Subscribe!